So here's the most important thing to keep in mind in this game. Don't get complacent. I act like I'm some big veteran of this game, but honestly I still feel like a rookie at times because I'm good at copying other people's designs. I'm not so good at playing on my own terms. But here's the thing, even veterans will mess up on occasions, and over the last few days we've actually had quite a few missteps. Here's one right now. We've got a lot. We actually haven't been using our buddy buds properly and forgot to disinfect this area. Now the polluted oxygen has gotten way out of hand, so we're going to have to set up a bunch of deoxidizers, plant another buddy bud, and try to choke all these polluted oxygen germs out. Meanwhile, over here, we accidentally demolished the Great Hall. So we need to reinstall a whole bunch of cobalt doors to seal this area back up again, and even then that won't be the end of it. We just have to hope that whoever's left isn't going to be too poorly off. And we are providing salt for all their meals. On the upside, I managed to set up a whole bunch of things. So I have this insulated obsidian line. Obsidian is terrible for insulation, but it's also got a stupid high resistance to melting, and we've run out of igneous rock due to our unfinished project down here. But if you look at the inside of this... Oh, ow! It's so horrendous to look at. But it is a start. We are beginning to set up our scouting rocket here. In fact, I'm almost regretting that I emptied the oxygen tank down here because it would have been nice to use that. Speaking of which, we need to get those oxygen masks repaired, but yeah. This massive mess of red lines, we aren't going to be able to figure out what's going on in here, will we? But I decided to trade out the sugar engine because I'm going to need some... So the difference between the sugar engine and the carbon dioxide engine. The sugar engine actually has its own inbuilt power. So as long as we're flying about, we should be getting power which we'll be using to run an onboard telescope. That's very important. The person that I found said that it wasn't an optimized build, and they also added that it might go out of date due to updates. But as it is, we don't have an awful lot of options. I can't keep holding off on exploring space, and that's probably going to be the easiest way we can explore space. I am going to at least hang on to this oxygen here and use that to juice up the whole Artemis. But yeah, everything is going ever so slightly wrong. I'm going to keep trying to build up extra bits of wall to force more of the polluted water up to here. Might as well open this door as well. Basically, we're trying to fill up this coolant tank. I have added a lot of the cabling for the thermo aqua tuners, which is nice. Well, not the cabling, the pipes. The problem is that we currently have this crude oil pipe, and it actually struck me while I was preparing for the episode that we don't need this huge runoff of crude oil. We can just route it straight down here. Albeit through the bedrooms, yeah, but It'll be a much easier way to get oil into the system because that's going to be one of the jobs of here. Oil refinement. Convert crude oil into petroleum and nat gas. Now, the downside is that it puts in 10 kilograms of oil but only outputs 5 kilograms of petroleum. That's a very inefficient method. Most people use what's called a crude oil boiler, where they harness the massive heat input of minor volcanoes or main volcanoes or the magma biome at the bottom of the asteroid, but I am going to have to do that sooner or later, but not now. I'm just not good at the game. I'm just not good enough at the game yet, and I need to get the industry up and running first, and to do that properly, we need petrol. We're still going to need to hang on to all these glossy Dracos because the build that I have in mind uses plastics for the airlocks. Well, for one airlock in particular, for the oil refinery airlock. But that's not the point at the moment. The point at the moment is that we need to get these thermal aqua tuners installed and this bottom area flooded with oil. Although it's probably going to compress all the gases into this top left corner, we should be able to coax it out. Actually, what I should do is dig up like this. It'll all be super compressed into this corner, I think. I don't know, actually, undo that. First, I want to flood this with oil and see what I get. Which is happening eventually. We have 1,000 kilograms of crude oil, not nearly enough. We need to absolutely flood these two tiles, and that's when we know we have enough to do the job. We should also keep in mind that this circuit cannot handle a 1000 watt load yet because there's still a lot of basic power cabling around. Just idle, not dormant. Buddy Bud here. Buddy Bud here. We need to get this slime lung back under control. Granted, it's already pretty well tamed thanks to adding I'm not actually sure what we did to help suppress this polluted oxygen, this slime lung epidemic. And no one actually got infected by it, so we're still fine. But when all is said and done, it's better to be safe than sorry. Catalina, what can you learn? We could always use more medicine compounders. Hassan, on the other hand, I have to keep in mind that I can't just assign all my stats willy-nilly. On Hassan, I'm giving him corium mining simply for the +1, but that just becomes a -3 overall. Field research for the extra science, but I have to remember that if I use a skill scrubber, then I lose mechatronics engineering, and that's a problem. Actually, can we see what your germ level is like? 12% of exposure to slime lung. I'm not exactly sure how those stats work. But I do know this, I set a lot of these things as level 4 jobs because I want people to take their time getting to it. Breathability, is that actually a problem? Oh, that is actually a problem. Probably because half of the oxygen flows upwards and half of it flows here. On the upside, we have more hydrogen in stock. If I really felt like it, I could probably just dump even more and increase the hydrogen layer here so they grow their bodies faster. So one interesting tactic I've seen for scheduling is to actually just have everybody's everybody have a unique shift. Just simply shift over the downtime, bedtime, or bath time by one for each duplicant. So everyone gets their own shift. They slowly go round in a huge circle, and it keeps the toilets from being congested. It's an interesting idea. I'm just used to how I do it. And that was the thing that they kept adding every time. It's a sandbox game, you're free to do it however you want. And speaking of how I want... Okay, we have our Great Hall bonus again. Might cause problems. Might. But I'm also sort of in the mood to speed up our oil production a little bit. This dopey long-hair slickster. Yeah, I think we need to switch off this cycle duration thing. This is where we're going to have to start making more oil. Actually, let's measure it out. We have about 540 spread out here. This is 22 tiles. So we don't have that much, honestly. We've almost but not quite reached half. Okay, that's it. Got the number back on my screen again. I kept trying to just have it equal itself, but it kept trying to multiply it by 22, and that did not give me numbers that I liked. Oh yeah, another thing I noticed, we didn't actually do the research that we needed. So we need to go through space power to get our hands on the power outlet fitting. And that means more radiation research. Let's play it risky. Risk it for the biscuit. Oh hey, lime. We have quite a lot of coal. It cannot be denied that we have a metric ton of coal. Meanwhile, this area is just completely bonkers with its element mixes. Slime Lung is starting to die out completely. Good. Yeah, there's always these little mistakes that you make. No playthrough is ever the same because it's always going to be a different life-threatening experience. Balloons for everybody! Yeah, sure. Wait, no, not a tile there. We need to make it an airflow tile so the air can keep... Yeah, look at how nice this place is. And something that I didn't actually know about, and I'm glad that I did find it out. It says capped at 120 decor. But this doesn't mean that the average decor is going to start measuring about here. It means that it's going to start measuring by those actual numbers you see there, and that's going to decide what their daily average decor is. They can't get higher than 120 on their average, but the average can be better than that. Like, it's one of those concepts that it sort of makes sense, but it's also really hard to explain. I'm sorry that I'm not good at explaining it. Anyhow, let's get to work fixing this ladder. Something that one minor change that I made compared with the guide I was looking at, they had a... So what they had was... They had the water cooler suspended in midair. It didn't have any buildings below it, it was just sitting there to create this as a mess hall. What I've done is I've installed a party line phone here. It would be nice if I could build it elsewhere, yes. Alright, I think I know what adjustment I'm going to make to this. Remove the large sculpting block. Remove that. Remove the mess hall table. Let me remove the mess hall table. So install the rocket station here. The mess hall table goes up here as soon as I can find it again. We install the party line phone here. Actually, I should probably finish connecting these wires as well. Where was the rest of my thought going? Right. Where they built the water cooler, I can install a painting, provided that I have the reed fibers for it. I don't have the reed fibers for it. I'm going to have to get rid of this painting to do so. Sorry, guys. It's a famous painting, I know, but... Oh. It's that big famous painting of two farmers by a farmer couple by a farmhouse or whatever it is. But instead of a house, it's in front of a compost heap. A very artistic looking compost heap. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, we've at least cleared out this area of its polluted water, so hopefully we'll start to make some breathing room again. Anyway, Iron Gut Rancher? Nah. Handy, but no interests related to it. Handy, uncultured, but Chevy dresser. Just researching and tidying. That might upset the plug slugs just a little bit. Which is why we're going to start incubating these Draco eggs continuously. The oxygen isn't perfect, but it's functional, and that's the important point. It's because half of it keeps getting routed over to here. Oh, we should also probably finish connecting up all these pipes, shouldn't we? This shower can get blocked on occasion, but it's one shower out of several will be fine. The slime lung plague is still there, but it almost isn't. We've started getting our aqua tuners installed. Not enough yet. We want this to be very close to topped off, but without actually going to overflow into the area above, so a few more tiles should do the trick. For some reason, I remember there being a high pressure liquid vent at some point. I don't get what happened to that. Turn that off. Allow manual use. We needed to ship things over in limited quantities. What was the thing we were shipping? diamond, that's it. So, time to start carrying rocks up from the lower areas up to the roof. If there is one good thing that this long-hair slickster is doing, it's that he's helping recreate the vacuum. Ellie, oh Ellie, you, Astronomy, and then you go into rocket piloting, and then we just don't need to ever give you any other skills. Because you'll be rocketing around. Right, we need a refrigerator in here. Make it out of gold. Question, how close are we with this research? We are sort of, but not quite. I just played the whole episode on 1 speed, didn't I? I do worry that this Let's Play is going to start to drag on, but I'm showing off getting 100% achievements. There's two things that I do slightly concern myself with when trying to figure out how to ranch them. And that's shine bugs and puffs, but especially puffs. The thing is, I've kept hearing about these glitches that cause puffs to, what's the word? They have a chance of starving to death because they simply can't comprehend where to go to get their atmospheric intake, and that kind of upsets me to think about. But there's also the fact that you can't really control where they go. Like, when they're penned with a pufflet prince, you can't control whether they go for the... You can't control whether they're going to produce a pufflet prince. You can't control whether they produce a dense egg or a squeaky puffed egg. You've got to have both. It kind of... I know there are builds for them. I just never felt like I was at the right point to make use of them because part of the problem is that it always used a specific type of liquid lock. It used one that is, let's see if we can find the element. Viscogel. This is really weird stuff. It doesn't say what it is. So, it's a polymer with a high surface tension, preventing typical liquid flow and allowing for unusual configurations. So, if you were to say have a liquid unbottler here, it would produce it would just drop the Viscogel in a line like this, allowing you to create a perfect liquid lock. That's what they usually use for sealing off puffed ranches, and I just never get to the point where I can make the stuff. Especially in this DLC because, pop it back open again, it uses isoresin. Isoresin is a crystallized sap formed or composed of long-chain polymers. It's used in the production of rare high-grade materials. So it doesn't exactly say how you get at it here. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Okay, close. Solidified goof harvested from a grumpy tree, used in the production of isoresin. So yeah, you have to boil it into steam to get your... Yeah, it can be polymerized into isoresin by boiling away its excess moisture. In the original, you just send people out to space, and then they'd come back with it with the stuff, provided they had the cargo bay space for it. It's not the case anymore. You actually have to land on one specific planet, and then you have to tame a very hostile tree. And even then, tame is a generous word. Basically, whenever they detect a duplicate around, they go on an angry attack, smashing around and dealing damage to anything in close range. But if there's food nearby, then they'll scoop it up and slowly produce resin. And I've seen this planet before. I gave up on the run before I figured out how I'm going to make use of it. I think the kiln is actually responsible for more heat generation than the metal refinery is, because I've been running that thing non-stop. Alright, we've explored everywhere. Oh yeah, one other thing I've done, I've set all the smooth hatch eggs to be auto-swept, and I've switched on the grooming station. I've decided I've had enough time messing about with these guys. I want them to complete their achievement. So, 88%. You're close to passing away, but you might just get to lay your egg. Yeah, he's going to lay one egg before he passes away. $60 watts, you say? Show me the interior. This takes 120 watts. This takes 120 watts. This takes 60 watts. So it's not going to be enough to power itself, but we have enough height that we could actually install something handy. We could install a battery as soon as we research it. Right. There's also the option of installing a solar panel on the rocket, but the problem is that we don't have any way to produce glass. We've also run out of time for the episode, so okay. Until next time, guys, take care. I'll see you all around.